Hi, welcome to Lean Blog Audio. It's Mark Graben here. Today I am reading a blog post titled Leader Standard Work is About Behavior, Not Just Your Calendar. This was published on October 8th, 2025. You can find a link to the blog post in the show notes, or you can go to leanblog.org/audio 442. Here's the post. Leader Standard Work, it's not just where you go, but how you show up. Too often, the concept of leader standard work in Lean is reduced to a calendar, blocks of time, Gemba walk appointments, huddles are scheduled on a recurring basis. There might be a color-coded matrix of what you'll do and where you'll be. But what about the way you behave when you're there? Leader standard work should be more than a checklist of places to go. It should be a daily commitment to how you show up as a lean leader every minute of the day. Not just where you'll be, but how you're going to be. Leader standard work isn't just about actions, it's about presence, mindsets, and modeling the culture we hope to build. So on this topic of where to go and what to do, below are some photos that I took over a decade ago visiting a hospital system. It was perhaps the first time I visited a CEO who was proud that the whole C-suite team, CEO included, each had a leader standard work document, and they were posted. There was transparency, there was visibility there in the executive suite. So you can see a number of those posted on screen. And for those who are listening to the podcast, by the way, there is a YouTube version of this. Again, look in the show notes, or you can find the images at leanblog.org/audio 442. If we scroll down and look at the leader standard work document for one of these leaders in particular, it lists a number of daily activities in these bullet points, reviewing emails, 6 a.m., noon, and 5 p.m., maybe just in certain windows as opposed to trying to be connected and looking at email all day long. It talks about things they're going to review, things they're going to attend, things they're going to prepare for, things they're going to do. Weekly, there's a similar list of bullet points about attending, preparing, reviewing, very much focused on what to do, in what context and how frequently. Then there's also a monthly list of reviews, preparations, tours, and then quarterly something to prepare for. Now, I'd say there's nothing wrong with this, but listing out one's schedule or roles and responsibilities isn't strictly just a lean practice. It's not necessarily lean. You could do this outside the context of a lean management system. Below this next image is an example from a hospital that was considered to be a world leader with lean practice. It was also very prescriptive, fairly prescriptive about what to do, but it doesn't really spell out some of the other mindsets that matter, such as, well, how do we react when there are quality concerns? So it's good that this, I think, has the specificity of asking about quality concerns, quality improvement opportunities. I mean, this is a finer level of detail, but it doesn't really get into all of the mindsets and leader behaviors that we would hope to see. A positive, constructive response to the reports of quality concerns instead of responses that blame or punish or shut people down from a context of psychological safety and feeling safe to speak up. Now, these documents, one way or another, don't prove that the organizations weren't also focused on behaviors in other ways. There's another example here below, also collected from my travels from a different health system, that gets closer to focusing on behaviors other than going somewhere and asking questions. It says you should do things like solicit feedback, encourage collaboration, encourage the use of problem-solving tools, asking, what did we learn? That's a very classic Toyota question, especially when something goes wrong, to ask, what did we learn, instead of asking who is to blame. But going to the Gemba isn't helpful if you bring the wrong behaviors. I recently got an emailed complaint from a hospital staff member, somebody who is very pro lean, if you will, who complained that their CEO is rarely seen at the Gemba out in the units, including the one where that nurse, that staff member works. I wasn't trying to say it was a nurse, but okay, odds are within a hospital, there are a lot of nurses. It was a nurse, but they complained, and I'm trying to not say the gender of the nurse. They didn't see the CEO unless it's to lead a VIP tour, as they put it. And even then, the leader walks past frontline staff without acknowledging people. No eye contact, no questions, no thank yous. I've heard some people hold this example and the CEO up as lean exemplars. I don't know. I've never visited the hospital. I haven't met the CEO, but meanwhile, the staff member who emailed me describes a workplace filled with, in their view, in their experience, chronic overburden, supply shortages, a blame-heavy environment, and a pervasive fear of retaliation. Psychological safety, this feeling of safety to speak up about anything, it doesn't seem just absent. It sounds unthinkable in that environment, at least in their experience. Unsurprisingly, this person reported that turnover is high. Talented people like the one who emailed me are, quote, quietly planning their exits. And yet, from the boardroom or the podium, the same CEO speaks of lean as a strategic imperative. Now, it's not about pointing fingers. It's about pointing out the disconnect between leadership talk and leadership behaviors. A lean title or somebody declaring that they're a lean leader doesn't necessarily make somebody a lean leader. Your behavior does, or it doesn't. There's a related blog post that I wrote going back to my manufacturing days about a vice president that I reported up through not having the right mindsets. And that's linked to in the blog post. The title of that blog post is When Gemba Walks Go Wrong, A Cautionary Tale of Bad Leadership and Missed Learning. So let's think about behavior-based leader standard work. Instead of focusing on what's on your calendar, what if we focused on what's in your interactions? So I'm going to share a proposed behavior-based leader standard work checklist, something you can reflect on, not just check off. And I think this could apply to leaders at all levels. It could be a standard, perhaps. And I would argue you shouldn't be happy with your I went to Gemba sticker. And I don't know if this is a real thing. To me, it's like a I voted sticker. Maybe somebody somewhere hands these out. But don't be satisfied with collecting that sticker if you didn't model and practice lean mindsets and principles. It's like the sticker might be like a management participation trophy. We have to do more than just physically be there. So some thoughts around a daily behavioral checklist for lean leaders. One, did I ask more than I told? Lean leaders lead with questions. What do you think is often more powerful than saying, here's what you should do. Two, did I listen without interrupting? Listening, truly listening, is a behavior, not a passive state. It builds psychological safety and it shows respect. Three, did I thank someone for pointing out a problem? Every problem shared is a gift. Did you treat it like one? Four, did I acknowledge a small improvement? Kaizen style improvement thrives on small wins. We can celebrate the effort, not just the outcome. Five, did I resist jumping to solutions? It's easy to try to quote unquote fix things. It's harder, but more effective to coach others towards solving or experimenting with countermeasures. Six, did I model humility? Admit when you don't know. Own your mistakes. It gives others permission to do the same. Seven, did I create space for someone else to lead? Sometimes the best leadership move is stepping aside and supporting others as they take the lead. Eight, did I follow up on yesterday's concern or idea? Improvement dies without follow through. Did you close the loop? Even if it's not the answer of yes, we're getting that solution put in place for you. Ongoing communication helps people not feel discouraged. 9, did I ask, what can I do to help? Sincerely, and did you mean it? Offering support without strings attached, I think, is foundational to trust and continuous improvement. 10, did I reflect on my behavior today? Just as we ask teams to reflect in daily huddles or in their use of A3s, leaders should do the same, starting with themselves. And those aren't the only 10 things and not necessarily the top 10 or, I think this is a starting point for conversation. I'd be curious what you would put on this list. Because this isn't about turning behavior into a mindless routine or just checking the box, or as the Brits would say, a tick box exercise. It's about being intentional. The calendar might remind us when to lead, but these behaviors hopefully remind us how to lead. Leader standard work, when done right or well, isn't a bureaucratic burden. It's a compass, a way to bring our values to life. So let's stop treating leader standard work as a rigid schedule. Let's treat it as a reflection of who we are becoming as lean leaders and as humans. So I'd love to hear your comments. Would you add or change anything in this behavior-based checklist? How do you reflect on your daily leadership habits? And I'll invite you also to check out another related blog post related to leader standard work and our behaviors at the Gemba. It's about this idea: when you go to the Gemba, don't just stare at metrics and boards. There's a blog post titled, "Going to the Gemba means more than looking at boards, status, and metrics, or your watch." Please don't get caught looking at your watch. That's an example of bad body language that doesn't really send a good message. So if you would like to read this blog post, if you want to comment, if you want to share it with others, you can do so at leanblog.org/audio442. So that's the end of my recording for Lean Blog Audio. I didn't stumble too much. I tend not to edit out too many of my stumbles along the way. But again, I would invite you to go check out the blog post. You can find more at leanblog.org. And as it says on the top banner, on the top of the blog post, my most recent book, The Mistakes That Make Us, has been on sale. My book has been on sale for quite a while now through Amazon. The retail price is $19.99. It's been on sale at Amazon for $10.99. So I hope you'll check that out. It's available in print books. That's a $10.99 price. The Kindle book is even less expensive. There's a audiobook available through Amazon and Audible. So thank you for checking out this episode. Thank you for checking out the live stream. I'll do more of these. I think I need to get in this habit. I'll announce them in advance. Hopefully we can get more comments and interaction. But for now, everybody have a great day. Keep improving. Keep carrying on.